Hey.
Okay, down to 10,
Do, 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 do.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hello and welcome everyone to the First Circuit Podcast, episode number 38. Today we have our usuals, our usual regulars, me, Biter, and IanDresarie.
At some point, you're gonna learn to pronounce my name.
Nope.
I don't know if anyone's going to
Marsh
pronounce your name.
Hey.
and old Bob.
Hey guys, what's up?
And today we'll be covering the new stuff in Micro Online. So the Vulcan has been announced and there's a 13-day challenge that we shall be talking about. And then we'll be moving on to Battletech, talking about how we've been going with the game, talking about other bits and pieces like the roadmap and things going on in the future. But
Yay.
let's get started with the Vulcan. Anyone want to start?
Um,
Go ahead,
It's absolutely amazing in the early Battletech novels.
yeah. Basically, the Vulcan was designed to actually go against troops in urban combat, and mainly tanks and very, very light mechs. In the Battletech universe, in the tabletop game. With the introduction of this into Mechwarrior Online, it's going to have, I think, a problem though, because it's not really armored as much. But of course, the Piranha is not armored as much too, but it does very well for what it does. But to let everyone know, Forged in Fire, the Vulcan Inner Sphere Collection. You, like always, the standard packs are the best things that you can actually go do with this, because you get the 3 mechs, you get 30 days premium time, you get the mech bays and everything else for $20. Literally 30 days premium time is $12 normally, and then you get the 3 mechs for another $8. Then you also get the wonderful early adapter rewards, which are the 3 copies of the Vulcan standing cockpit items. The Franken Camel, which is kind of bizarre. I don't know why they did that. Of course, the new art is a little bit different. The colors is what's really actually making Mechwarrior Online for me, because I get to color my mechs whatever I want to now. And then also the 6.5 million C-built boost. The now with the additional reinforcements add-on for $15, the 2 additional ones, which I'll go down below and go and tell you something's hidden behind a paywall, and then the hero for an extra $15 as well. So let's go to the first part of the mech specs, so the overview of the Vulcan 2T, 5T, and 5M. Now, we're looking at the generalization I think they did with this is kind of like the ongoing thing of what's going on with Mechwarrior is the hard points for mechs. They go, oh, let's put 2 here, 1 there, 1 there, and this mech is going to be 2, 1 there, 2 here, 2 there, that kind of thing. That's what I feel that I guess what they're doing for the hard points. So we're looking at the first mech, which is 1 ballistic in the arm, 2 ballistic right torso, center torso AMS, and then 2 left torso would be the energy. And then the next one is ballistic, energy AMS, 3 energy, 1 energy, and kind of like goes in between those hard points. And then the last one for the $20 pack is two ballistic, 1 energy, 1 AMS, and 2 energy, 1 energy. So it kind of splits between of what you can do for the different builds. But for $20, so it's still not a bad deal to go and get this kind of stuff. And then, like I said, with the paywall for $15, you get the 5S, which has the mass capable, so you can run faster, turn faster, do a whole bunch of really cool things. Now at 97.2 miles per hour, it's not bad for a medium mech, for a 40-ton mech. It's not bad at all. But and you could also upgrade the engine as well to make it go even faster, and then also skills go faster as well. Anyone else want to go and chime in?
Yeah,
I just want to say just one quick thing. I liked when you talked about the early adapter awards.
And what about it? Yeah, I did.
Adapter.
Yeah.
Adopter. Sorry. Okay, it's fine. You
With
caught me.
No,
Oh
it's
no.
Oh no, you can't. No, but anyway, I think it's for medium mech, it seems going to be going quite fast, because I mean you got a max engine rating of 315 in this thing. So how fast do we think?
Yeah, what's the speed on that?
Yeah, because standard is a 240 and you're going 97. If you put a 315 in this thing, it's going to be going quite fast.
It's not as high a cap as the other in the sphere 40 tonners, like the Assassin or Cicada can go to 340 or 365 thereabouts.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be, relatively speaking, actually one of the possibly slower 40 tonners, though For the most part, when in a sphere 40 tonners, I'm aiming for a 300-ish engine anyway. I'm not going up to the max engine on the assassin. Like max engine, max jump jet assassin is hilarious, but you have enough tonnage spare for an SRM2 and
Yeah, that's
a
about
couple
it.
of tons of ammo.
Yeah, because a XL 315 and a Cicada, it's going about 127. It's not bad.
Yeah,
Not
but
bad.
then again, that's a cicada, which is famous
Yeah.
for having 2 medium lasers, and that's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much about it. But the mask is pretty cool for the 5S though, to actually be going a little bit faster and be able to turn a little
mask.
faster. So that's a bonus for that. And then also the 6 jump jets, definitely does help though too.
40-tonner jump jets are really neat. They give you a huge amount of push. So, yeah, it'll be able to reach decent speeds and decent jumps, even if it isn't as heavily jump jetted as the jump jet Cicada or heavily engined as a particular assassin. Yeah, it's got the mobility stuff, but I mean, my impressions. Okay, first off, is it is not that pretty. I don't know. It's an
I love
ugly
it.
ducking.
I love it,
I
but
like
I'm
how it's
crazy.
ugly looking.
Yeah, it's an interesting look. It's a I mean, I don't want to steal Elisha's thunder, but at least yeah, the mask being behind a paywall is quite disappointing for me. The standard pack isn't too invigorating, and at least for 40 tonners, you don't have tonnage for big ballistics, and these don't have any much ballistic hardpoints at all. Like the most is 4, and that's behind the paywall. The hero actually does have energy and missile, and those are great for 40 tonners, and that is behind the paywall. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the standard pack always has quite a nice value for money, relatively speaking. You aren't getting the most interesting mechs. There is not much of interest here.
Yeah,
At least
they're
for the
all kind of
standard pack.
samey, except for the hero mech. The hero mech is when you get missiles. That's the only one that would be my alley right up there.
Well, they do that on
Yeah.
purpose though, because most of the time everyone puts money and they always put missiles on their mechs to go ahead and do that nuke option type thing.
Yeah, like kind of like the assassin.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what that is.
Since we are talking about money right now, maybe quick questions. Are you guys going to get any package, and if so, which one?
Are we gonna get what?
The packages. If I get one, I mean, of course, I'd probably get the standard because you have to get that. That's your default. The extra ones like the reinforcement, I'd probably pass, but I would probably get the hero.
Yeah, I'm really not sure because that standard pack being so unenticing, along with as I was saying, at least the hard points are just not that enticing to me. I already have the Dark Death, for example, which has a quirked up AC2 plus some missile hardpoints and some energy with ECM. Like that has so many cool little pieces of tech that I've got my little Dakar gun that I can use with stealth and some medium lasers and some SRMs. That is already got this niche of Dakar. Whereas for a 40 tonner, I mean, even if I'm wanting to do like a big UAC, the Cicada already there's already a UAC Cicada, there's already a UAC Assassin, I think. So why am I getting this thing again? I mean,
nostalgia.
I don't know. I guess at least the hilarity is you get this weird walking blob and you put a heavy goose in it.
Oh, that's a Hollander.
But then again, that's already something the Firestarter does really damn well.
Within this niche, yeah, that you can already do that with the Assassin Cicada and Firestarter.
Actually, you're right about that because the Firestarter probably is better because like in general though that like always they have the new mechs don't really have that good of quirks until everyone starts bitching about it, and then basically then they get some more quirks later on.
What's that? Or the people actually finally skill them out, and that's also another thing right there.
Yeah, I think typically they like giving quirks according to the lore type stuff, so that because it starts with machine guns and flamers. But because they're always so conservative with their quirks, it's like, oh wow, I could do 2 machine guns in this thing with 25% boost to the rate of fire.
Yay.
Oh my, I have a flamer with an extra 10% range. It's not just 90 meters, it's 99 meters to start with. Oh my glob.
So exciting.
Well,
Yeah.
Very good. Sorry,
And
go ahead.
otherwise, like I think at least to channel a bit of Commander Lemming, at least like the thing that could save this mech and make it worthwhile is durability quirks. And oh boy, wouldn't it be lovely if everything got durability quirks? This is getting a little repetitive.
I mean, if this mech, if it does have crazy armor quirks, it could be fun.
Speaking of crazy armor quirks, Bida, do you know how the armor compares to other 40 tonners?
So at least baseline in Mechwarrior Online, all the 40 tonners are typically able to equip, you know, if you change the builds, more or less armor, you know, the same max armor. So the only difference is typically how much you typically will actually put on the mech and how much extra you get from skills.
Yeah.
I would say at least the things like with the 40 tonners, the Cicada's always been a giant big walking blob with giant legs, making it a little tricksy to stay alive. The Assassin has like a perfect spidery shape that makes it incredibly slippery and difficult to hit. This thing, it's got the kind of long legs, it's got the weird kind of wide lankiness to it, but those side torsos, if they count as side torsos, are going to be a huge target if you're facing the enemy, which is something machine guns would encourage, or, you know, rapid fire ballistics. So I'm going to really struggle, you know, making the shape work is what I'm assuming. And to make it actually, you know, durable enough would require some major survival stuff.
I don't think the side torsos are that bad compared to other mechs that are out there, like the Assassin and like everything else. The side torsos doesn't look like a Fafnir or like all the rest of the mechs I've been putting out here. It doesn't look too bad as far as like targeting them though.
The thing is, with, you know, when you don't compare to a Fafnir, but you compare to other smaller mechs, because the whole point with with the Fafnir, at least you are pretty tanky to begin with. But when you're a smaller mech, you want to avoid or be able to roll damage really well. And this, you know, the Assassin has this perfect little ball of a shape, so that when you twist just slightly, you know, it changes what side is facing the enemy, just like a Vindicator does. That you're a nice round shape. Whereas this thing's front profile is quite wide and open with giant shoulder blades.
True, but I think with this one, especially the one with the mask, if you're speedy enough and you're good at torso twisting, I think you might be able to spread the damage fairly well in this thing.
You'll probably be able to do it fairly well. It's just not going to contend with the Assassin. And the Assassin already has brilliant missile plus energy hardpoints galore, and Assassins have ECM. And bigger engine cap and more jump jets typically as well.
Yeah, because I was going to say, because how fast does the Assassin usually go?
Depends on the build, but you know, you're going the similar 100, 115 kphs or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just going to bring mine up right now, because mine like goes about 117. So, but that has an engine. What's the engine in this thing?
Oh, hold the phone.
A 270 in it.
Hold the phone. You get titles and badges. You get
Mhm.
titles
Titles
and
and
badges. Yes.
I missed that. Oh,
I even looked at my titles or badge. I haven't seen those for like months, or even like cared about them. But anyways.
oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. You do
yeah.
get that, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, we always get a good laugh about them.
But the one thing you do get if you pre-order is always the sweet standing cockpit item.
I do like
Which
those. They've been doing
those are
really
really
good
cool.
jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, they've been doing really good jobs. I like the new spider one that they have out, and which will be in one of the new Mayday things, basically. But it's not too bad though.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad at all.
I'd say though, to wrap up, like at least my feelings is that this mech, in terms of, you know, its starting lore or whatever, is obviously very different from Mechwarrior Online. There is no infantry to kill, and its shape doesn't look that too enticing. Its hardpoints really do not look that enticing. The standard pack is, as Lars says, very samey, and that isn't very enticing. But I do always like getting, you know, another Warhorn and experimenting with new mechs when they come out, so we can discuss them later. So I'm half tempted to get the standard pack, but then it feels real bad because the things I really want, which is mask and, you know, basically turning it into an assassin with missiles, are both behind different paywalls.
You're
And
right.
both of the, like, at every step along the way, this is making me feel bad. PGI, this is not, at least from my position, how you should be doing mech packs.
Like, I mean, like I would say if they at least put, like, let's just say, what's the one that doesn't have mass but that has a reinforcement?
That one's got the
also...
most ballistic, 4 ballistics.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Ooh.
4 machine guns.
So yeah, so like I would say if they would have put that one in with the basic pack to at least give you something extra that isn't just, like 2 ballistic and a bunch of energies or whatever it is. If they, maybe if they would have put that in there, that would have been maybe a little bit more enticing, or maybe even just put the mask one in the basic pack.
Yeah. Oh, here's something else that I would really like to see. Like, this mech is basically a light mech in most regards.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's gonna be
it's
gonna be a confused medium.
Why don't they put the pricing down $5?
Yep.
To match
Yes.
pricing. Like that,
Or-
if the standard pack was $15, I would immediately buy it just to get the adopter rewards.
And the
But $20,
warhorns.
I'm sitting here
Adopter.
like, is it worth it? Not really. I don't care about the mech.
I think
Because I'm sorry, I just want to know what the warhorn sounds like. That's all I care about.
well, like 2
There's always
things.
like at least always at this stage we don't know the quirks, we don't know the warhorn, etc., and they want you to pre-order way in advance. There's
Yeah.
You know what? I think it'd be very interesting if they change their model a little bit and they put the quirks out on the day of release.
On the day of release?
So sorry,
here?
on the day of announcement.
Oh yeah. Actually, I would enjoy that too, because then I'll figure out if I want to actually purchase that mech. I know that, like, let's say the Hermes comes out. Hermes will have, since it is a command mech, I would actually, put that for like extra sensor range. For the Vulcan, like maybe more flamer range, more machine gun rate of fire, that kind of thing. That's what I'm hoping they're gonna do.
Yeah. Because this seems like PGI runs into the same issue where they put out a mech, then people get a little butthurt whenever that's going to come out, whenever they do put out the quirks, and then people get into a giant uproar, and they're like I want a refund, and then it want a refund.
I have a question.
Idea what kinds of quirks they're gonna put on there.
Yep.
Good point.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And they are going to set themselves up for many, many months of people whining about the quirks not being what it should be.
I got a question
So,
from the room, but
given how we know PGI operates by now, I'm gonna be fairly certain they lock their quirks in maybe 2 days before they publish them.
Who wants to take bets for a hot fix on the day of release?
Yeah. I got a question from someone inside the chat room there. They ask, what medium mech does the First Circuit wish they had gotten instead?
Like what kind of mech they want. I'll be honest, I have to look up what I put in there.
Yeah, I would need to look up because there is one mech, and sadly, since my lore background in other games is very limited, because I mean, before Mechwarrior Online, the only game I really played that was Battletech or Mechwarrior related was the one for the Nintendo DS, along with Dark Age. That was my intro. That was my intro. I'm just trying to because I have one sitting on my desk. It's a Dark Age mech though, so it's probably not going to be anything that would be related at all to you guys though.
Yeah.
I imagine to some degree at least, there's way more popular ones like that. Like at least, what's the light mech with the Gauss rifle?
The Hollander.
Yeah, I would like to see that. That looks cool.
Oh yeah. I would definitely like to see the Hatchet Man.
No,
actually.
the Gauss rifle's a medium mech. That's a Hollander.
Hollander, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's a
Hollander.
40-ton mech. Like that would be pretty cool to have. Also, the Strider. I had a lot of fun with Mechwarrior. That's also 45-ton mech, I think. Pretty fast. So yeah, those would be my 2 choices.
Yeah.
At least on Sana, the Hollander's 35 tons.
Yeah. I would probably say the Hatchet Man and the Clint, actually.
Hatchet Man is definitely one of them.
Yeah,
Yes.
Hatchet Man, because if the Hatchet Man comes into Mechwarrior Online, we're gonna get it in Battletech.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's the argument.
But for me, the one I would want, just because I like how it looks, only the reason is kind of how it looks, is that there's a mech called the
We have been playing it, by the
Hawk.
way, and we're gonna go over that like in a second.
25-ton clan mech.
Oh, which one?
And I have it in the chat and Discord. It's a Crimson Hawk, but it has a large energy mounted shoulder mount.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
no. Not
'Cause, I mean-
another large laser sniper that's clan.
Because I mean, I will admit a lot of
It
Dark
looks
Age
cool.
mechs looked stupid. This one was like, I think, a Dark Age only mech, and I love the way it looks.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah,
It's Dark
I
Age.
like its
Forget about
look.
it. Forget about it.
Yeah.
It's junk.
I think though, of course, the real mech that they need to really put in is the slowpoke.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah, I know. Wait for that one.
Yeah, that took a lot longer than I thought it would. Slowing down.
Oh
Your
god.
lowest tonnage at 10, which means you could do more gimmicks.
But like
Yep.
overall, do you think that it is worth it to get it or not?
Mech pack that's out now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass probably.
Yeah, I'll pass unless I decide that I really want those 6.5 million Seabills, but that would require me to start a Mechwarrior online again, and that's not gonna happen for another week.
Because Battletech has
Battletech.
owned your soul.
Battletech is one of my life now.
Yes.
Oh god. Oh jeez.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily. If you're really into the game, sure, and you always pick up every pack, this one might as well. But it's a tougher sell than a lot of the other packs.
I think basically, as far as the standard pack, it's worth it. You know, if you got the $20, you like the game, it's definitely worth it for the standard pack, just for the premium time alone, and the additional stuff you get with it as well too. That's pretty cool. But but I probably won't pick it up though, to tell you the truth.
Yeah,
Even though I
actually,
love that kind of stuff.
And this is probably more of a question for Ian, or like more of like a statement from my chat, since you might know more of the technical things of the game, maybe. But Mitchell says that I would also like it if they displayed the in-game model on the announcement, which probably kind of goes along with the lines that we just said, that they might not even have the model.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
to show.
absolutely certain they won't have it.
Yeah.
They're at the stage they've done some official art, and even then, you know, like if you look at the hero mech that's supposed to have all these missile hard points, it looks like just all the others. So you know,
different paint job, what it's going to look like. Here's the artwork for it. Instead of like we all see this, it's like it doesn't really impress me. I want to see the missile, hard points on it. That would actually probably sell a lot better. You know, at least sell like a mech pack.
Yeah.
I mean, that would impress me. Yeah, definitely might make some extra bucks.
I would like to try it to be the underdog mech, but I already have found that niche with the Hellspawn, and I really love the Hellspawn. Why would I try something even harder?
Oh man, I forgot about the Hellspawn. I do not have that one. I completely forgot about that freaking mech.
I gotta get that one too, actually. So okay, so Vulcan, we're pretty much almost like unanimous. It's a good deal, but probably won't pick it up.
I mean, it's the same deal as always with the whole 30 days premium time, cockpit items, this, that, and the other. So
just the hard points on those first three to me just don't look impressive.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. Okay, so
I'm looking forward to 200% rate of fire for my machine guns.
Yay!
If ever they, take a bold move and go, oh my gosh, 3 rapid firing machine guns. Oh wow, that's gonna break the game compared to a piranha.
You get a mislinks.
So next up we got the MW news of the Cinco de Mayo thing. Maydays. Daily quick play challenges. Now, I got a freaking rant about the first one. Okay, this pissed me off to no end, and I can't I can't understand why they still do this for the UAV day. Basically, you have to get hold on a second. Shit. You basically have to get the UAV, shoot it down, and then jump up like 10 UAVs, and that's basically
3 hours so remaining.
Seems easy.
It seems easy, but the whole stupid thing about it is you are determined to complete that mission from someone else dropping UAV, but you have 12 other guys on your team that are trying to shoot down the UAV at the same time. so it's 2 different factors. One, a person has to shoot a person has to go ahead and drop a UAV, and 2, you got to beat the other like 11 guys against dropping that UAV. So it's like I cannot understand why they still have this UAV challenge. I played like 10 games. No one dropped UAVs, and no one actually, so like I couldn't actually do anything about it. I'm like, forget it. I'm not gonna do this one. I'm done. I'm done doing this kind of like crap. It just really irritates me. Every single time they do that, all this crap happens and no one drops anything.
At least they've learned somewhat, and they put in the detect 10 enemies with UAV.
Well,
I
that's
remember
fine.
the early days of challenges where they were like, okay, today you have to shoot down a UAV. But
Yeah.
no one's gonna put up a UAV.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
my point. Detecting it, like detect 10 like enemies, which is fine. I don't mind that because I'll just run a light up there and go drop it and then run away. But my whole success is determined on another person dropping one. Forget about it. I'm not going to do this. I'm done. I'm pissed.
I mean, I haven't minded these UAV things in the past, and I should be done with it fairly quickly. I imagine to some degree, Bob, you have less time for this because there's something else you want to play, right?
Well, okay, yeah. Hold on. I work 12 to 14-hour days. I do a whole bunch of other different things, and then I play Battletech. Yes, that takes up most of my time. So I play Battletech, and then I got to drop in, and then hopefully someone's going to drop a UAV. I'm like, forget it. I'm done. I want to play Battletech now. That makes you want to jump in Battletech even more.
Yeah, because you're getting frustrated. But I mean, it all depends if you really want the items too. It's like, do you want that cockpit item with the MC? Is it really a big deal for you? But if not, whatever. Pass on it.
I can pass on the frustration. Yeah. I can pass on the frustration, though, man, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Personally, at least, I do want the dish war horn because I think it came with the supernova, and it just sounds so alien and serene, and I like putting them in my supernovas.
It does sound cool, yeah. Yeah, true.
But yeah, to give people the rough overview, though, it's a challenge every day for 13 days, a whole bunch of this, that, and the other. I don't know. It's mostly the same as most of the other little challenges they've done here and there.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take it day by day. I haven't even necessarily looked at every single day. But it's been a while since they've even done an event. Like, I wonder if they've been giving Battletech some space because I've just been playing that and I haven't had a reason to go back to
exactly.
MWO until today.
Please come back. We'll give you MC and cockpit stuff.
I think it's how it is. But the funny thing is, I actually did go through all the days before the podcast. Most of them, besides the first day, is mostly just going to be GXP, MC, and C-bills. There are not many cockpit items. The only cockpit item you're going to get, I believe, is May 8 day, and that is a steel spider. And I think that's it.
There's a fair number of decal words, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean...
there are
cool
decals in there, there are MC in there. It's worth doing. And one thing they did this time that I really like, it's not necessarily a daily challenge, because every challenge goes on for 2 days.
Yeah.
So you can drop in every second day and do the challenge, like two of them at once.
I like
which
that. And
I really, really appreciate. Thank you for that, PGI, because I wasn't able to do like every day the last couple times. So
yeah, because this game can be a grind. And personally, I enjoy the May Day of Mother's Day because you're getting a decal and you're getting the word freeborn.
Yes.
On Mother's Day.
I want that one. Freeborn. Oh yeah.
Amazing.
That is cool.
So fitting because you're getting that and a heart on Mother's Day. That's really
that
fitting.
is so cool. I want the freeborn just to go piss off clanners.
So make sure to go on to Mother's Day on that day, and then you can get your awesome decal.
So what you're telling me is I need to ditch my girlfriend on Mother's Day so I can play Mechwarrior?
Well, there's 2 days to do it, right? We're just saying that. All right, so I think that's pretty much all we have for Mechwarrior. So, should we segue into the other game? I forget what it's called.
Yeah, the tiny indie game that no one's really playing. Right?
What game's that? BattletechGame.com?
BattletechGame.com.
Tech Battle 5, I think it's called.
Tech Battle 5.
Robot smashing in face number 45.
Or robot suits.
And
yes.
Real quick, since we were at the meme, did you notice that they're changing our meme? Because they moved the forums from community.battletechgame.com to the Paradox Plaza.
Really?
I hate HBS for doing that. I don't know the new URL yet. my meme is disturbed.
I forgot where to go now.
So like, what's first on the docket for BattleTech?
Just how are you guys doing with the game?
Let's start from the bottom this time, Bob.
Oh, okay. Well, me personally, I was getting kind of bored with the game itself. I know it sounds weird, but I was getting kind of bored because I was doing just lerming mechs, just lerm boats, and so I would just get a spotter, lerm, and kill the mechs, and then go to the next one, and the next one, until Biter showed me the way. He showed me the way of how to actually play the game. He showed me the way, and so I was. He taught me about evasion. He taught me about reserves. Exactly what I used to do for the tabletop game, but I totally forgot and spaced it on playing on Battletech itself. And the game dynamics changed completely because it's so much more tactical involved into the game. But I do have an issue. There's a couple issues I do have, and I'll go through my 5-minute rant here. I have a lot of rants, don't I? Okay.
It's that kind of day for you.
It's that kind of day.
Say, at least my guess as well with your tightness is you're doing I think you're playing one playthrough on your own and one for the stream.
I'm doing one on Twitch and then one for like YouTube.
So you're like playing it twice over then.
Yeah, basically. But
time to do that prisoner again.
Oh. Yeah, and now I know what to expect though. To tell you the truth. But my one of my rants is this: all the medium mechs and light mechs that you do have, the ambiance of the game. Bishop Steiner actually brought this up, like in like Twitter. There's so many, like the Pirate Kingdom that's over on the small planet on small moon. He has like six Jaeger mechs and like 10 10 Highlander mechs and a bunch of Devastators. That pretty much kills immersion because normally in the game itself, pirates might have a heavy mech which is piloted by the Pirate King and then a bunch of medium mechs that are kind of like crappy. But Battletech does actually bring that into effect of having like half armor representing shoddy workmanship, that kind of thing, which is cool. But Black Knights, Highlanders were almost unheard of in the periphery. I mean, absolutely unheard of in 3025. And the biggest thing you'll fight in general against pirate kingdoms or pirate bases is like vehicles, troops, and maybe the light to medium lance that you will find. And so basically that breaks immersion, at least for me. But that's just my own thing.
I would say at the highest difficulties, you're going to be facing assaults and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I think it's a bit different according to the faction, but to some degree, it is just a whole bunch of assaults, but with a different set of paint.
Yeah, and that's basically what it is. And generally, even MOC only has I think I have 7 regiments of mechs at that time of 3025. They basically maybe had 20 to 30 assaults throughout the whole empire. But now now I'm fighting Black Knights, Highlanders, Atlases and everything. It's really not fulfilling that role. But I understand though, because at your level, which I have Highlander and through Thunderbolts. So I'm fighting those things because you got to make it tough, because otherwise it will get really boring. That I understand. But that immersion effect is killing it. Like for me, I still love the game. Oh God, I love the game. Don't get me wrong. But that's one of the things that kind of is really kind of bothering me internally. Second rant.
Yeah. I just on that at least a little bit. Sorry if I keep intersecting on everyone's rants, but
go ahead.
Yeah, because I was given the impression BattleTech, the mechs were really sort of rare, handed down, and all that stuff. But obviously in this game, you need to destroy a lot of mechs to get the salvage, because you're not always killing a mech with a headshot, right?
Yeah.
And every mission you're fighting possibly up to 2 lancers or even more sometimes every time. So your kill count in terms of numbers of mechs will go into the hundreds by the end game. And it doesn't exactly share the same feel, at least that I thought the setting somewhat goes for.
Well, yeah, true.
Nice.
You have roaming bands of atlases, standard scout lances, like all over the place now, like in the periphery when there shouldn't. I mean, maybe one atlas is all in the periphery and that's it, and that one's pretty shoddy armor and everything. So you're not gonna. It's rare you'll find that kind of stuff, but yet we're fighting like Steiner lances, which are a bunch of atlases. Okay, second rant. The problem. Okay, the other thing I have a big issue with is that they once I get up, I run 3 Thunderbolts and plus a Highlander and do pretty well with it now. The problem I have now is what am I going to do with the other mechs? I love those mechs, but they're useless now. me as a mercenary, just the killing the immersion type thing. Me as a mercenary unit, I would send those guys out to do different things. Like say in the future, Mitch Gittleman, just to let you guys know, you have kind of like a AI that actually you would have like four medium lance, a 4 medium lance, a 4 medium mechs like in a lance, and send them out for an AI like mission. And they have a predetermined thing, they get money, like do whatever. So you actually have a use for those, because now I just sell them for money, and I don't really care about those. And it kills the immersion effect, because as a mercenary unit commander, I would never ever sell those mechs. Period. I mean, you would never do that kind of thing, because you need those mechs just in case something happens. And so that kills the immersion effect of what I feel the game should be. But of course, like I'm a freakazoid for lore, but that's just another thing that really kills it for me.
One thing
yeah,
that I suggested along the lines in your stream, at least, was in XCOM 2. I think I remember at least sometimes like you will have missions that are supposed to be low profile, because in that one you're sort of playing as an insurgent force, and to stop colonels being the highest ranked soldiers always being the ones you take into a fight, they would do stuff like only sergeants and below are allowed on this mission. So in a Battletech sense, you would say, we want to keep this mission down low. We don't want you stomping in with 400 tonners. That's going to go in the news. So can you please bring a lance of mediums?
That'd be perfect.
And that would give you reason to keep mediums in the bay and actually bring them out once in a while.
Yeah, that would be a perfect idea for them to do. And just like Star Wars Online, they did the same thing, where you could send your NPCs or your followers out on missions, and they get money for you and plus items. Same thing they could do with this is like you send them on a contract for garrison duty. And so all they do is just sit there for like 2 months, just protecting this one moon or something like that, and then they get you money. Depending on what happens, if something attacks it, then either you could go into that battle or have it like predetermined or something. That'd be kind of cool. But I mean, for the immersion effect though, it's killing it like for me. But I mean, overall though, I love the game. I love the game. It's so much fun. But that's one of the things that's really like bothering me like right now. Oh, okay, that's me. Sorry, go ahead, guys.
Okay. Lars, could I do the second
no
one?
worries.
I've got some things.
No worries.
Similar experience to Bob. You guys probably gathered that Bob and I are the absolute lore nerds here. So we kind of have the same issues with the game for the most part.
Yeah,
for me, I finished the campaign. Campaign was really good. Now I'm at the late stage of trying to gather the best mercenary lands I can. And I'm at a point where I'm considering ending my current campaign and starting a new one, because the early game's good enough that I'm gonna do it again immediately. So the game definitely nailed that. One thing I'm currently doing to keep my fun level up, that kind of goes in similar ways to Bob, I'm setting myself challenges.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm currently trying to get the Lance of Atlas. Then I'm not taking the 2 Atlases I have into the game. I'm trying to get a heavy lance set up and do 5 stars mission with that heavy lance, for example. That way I get to use my kind of unnecessary mix, and I keep the fun factor high. So, yeah.
Good point. Actually, that's what.
Like that's the whole thing I've noticed about BattleTech. You can play the game super easy by doing missions that are easier than your pilot. What's the name? Your lance rating, or by just in general optimizing your mechs to one-shot enemy assault mechs, which is very much possible. Or you could set yourself challenges and increase your fun, but that requires some self-discipline. I
mean, personally, I take a lot of stability damage weapons and multi-target, and try and knock down, the enemy as much as possible, just to knock them over like Skittles, just for the fun of it.
Same. That's what I do too. That's usually my first priority.
Yeah. So in general, BattleTech is really about what you make out of the game, not so much what the game provides in that regard. Okay, end of my rant.
Lash?
Okay, so now I'm not a lore junkie, so mine's gonna be probably more short and sweet.
Ooh,
and
yes.
also because I've had to be an adult and I have not had a lot of free time. So from my own experience is that I am enjoying it. I don't really have any complaints. But I mean, so I'm not gonna get into spoiler territory or anything crazy, but I've gotten past like the very first like large mission that you're given that really thrusts you into the storyline. So that jump is making me want to go back. I just wish I had a time machine just to stop time or make more time to put myself into this game more, because the like just as a like comparison, like the first few missions is like me playing like Cowboy Bebop, just doing little like side missions for monies and scrounging around, and then once you beat and then like once you go past this one large mission, like the story just opens up so much more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I finally gotten to that point, and I've only done like one mission after that. So yeah, so it's one of those things where I wasn't gonna like even stream Battletech, but I feel like I want to stream more of it now because it is a lot of fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, for me, similarly like Ian, I have also completed the main storyline and have been building up to, you know, the biggest, baddest lance of all time. And personally as well, like I mentioned this a bit in Lash's Discord, at least I've been messing around with ARM mods and that, and the other, and trying to make the ultimate, you know, silly melee mechs and stuff like that, just to try and, you know, test out the extremes of how you can build in this game. I think continuing on from my thoughts, at least from last week, as I said, that this game has a solid foundation in terms of the gameplay, the tactics, and all that involved, and the overall meta stuff about you know, gathering bits of mechs and equipment and all that. It's all a solid foundation, at least with that part. Whereas the gameplay is the real seller to me. I also described, at least, I felt a real disconnect, at least with the story and the characters, this, that, and the other. Having gone through it a bit more and had a bit more time, I would say, at least to me, at least, you know, as the story goes on, there is war stuff involved where, like, you know, you do a mission and then they say, all right, there's another mission over there where we have to attack some warehouse. And you go over to the planet and they go, oh no, somebody says the warehouse is too heavily defended. And then someone chimes in and says, oh, well, maybe we'll just attack the, you know, the offices where they do all the administration for the warehouse. And I'm like, okay. And then we attack the thing, and somebody says, oh, by the way, there's an optional objective. There's some Furbies over there that was, you know, the property of the manager. If we take that, we get extra leverage on them. Yeah. And I do it, and I get more C-bills at the end, and, you know, we finish the mission, and it's like, they say, oh, well, we've conquered the planet. Yay! Oh, by the way, you know, we found there's a whole bunch of Furbies, so next time go over to the Furby planet. And I'm, oh, okay. What a twist. And the thing is, at least, I feel like somebody sat down and written a very long war story thing for the main plot, and it's got lots of twisty turns. It's twisty-turny. What a twist! But the way they present it feels almost trivial, because it's just a couple of people, you know, sitting on your ship going, well, we came for the warehouse, but how about this other thing? Okay, then. Well, it's just people talk about things so briefly. I don't get invested in it, and that comes along with the other additional problems. Like, at the end of the day, I'm a guy with a club. I can hit people with club. I can stand in front of something and defend with club. You know, and the Campaign missions are just a little step above the skirmish missions in terms of their structure. Mm-hmm. And I don't connect at all with the people there. There's way too many sort of characters at play. There's a giant war thing going on, but it's just a rambling story that I'm personally not invested in, and that they don't really make you feel one with the thing. Like, in my mind, I was thinking of like other games and how they presented it, and games like Supreme Commander. If any of you guys touched that. In that one, of course, you have commander units. They could build buildings. They, you know, all that stuff. And in that, they have when you arrive at a new planet, a commander will, appear on your radio and say, "Hey, what are you doing here, you filthy scum? I'm gonna crush you!" Blah 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 blah. Like, there's actually a person you're fighting against on every planet and every mission, and you go up and actually personally fight them. Whereas in this one, I get it. Attacking the warehouse, the administration building is indeed a mission that makes some sense. Don't get me wrong. It's just not that invigorating. It's usually shoot a box, protect the enemy from shooting a box.
Well, that's kind of how their Shadowrun games were. And they built the same premise from the Shadowrun games into Battletech. They just changed different things on it, and that's kind of like how it was in Shadowrun. So, I mean, if it worked in Shadowrun, it probably was going to work in Battletech.
I remember Shadowrun. There's obviously a lot more scripting in that one.
Yeah, there is.
And there's stuff like time limits and whatnot, and the fighting isn't actually sort of the biggest draw for me. It was being an RPG, your character personally being a big player in all the events. But in Battletech, you're a thug with a club, and that's mostly it. I'm not so invested. I never feel like a Zhang Liao storming into the Wu forces camp. You never really have that feeling. And just to give some people the idea of the reference, because that's a historical reference, an army of 100,000 come to attack your castle, and you lead a preemptive strike with 600 men, and you turn the entire battle around. There's nothing like that. And there's no personal, fighting officer to officer, at least not enough of that. And ultimately, at least, I like the core gameplay mechanics, but there's a lot of things that are sort of very loose with this game.
I'd actually, if I may, by the way, quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
One thing about the thing you complain about that I actually like is how they represented the fact that you are a single company inside of a big conflict. So in Battletech, wars are decided with regiments, and you have 4 mechs to field at one time. I somewhat like the fact that your missions are not the big battalion-sized battles, but rather the small missions. So,
which are part of a larger thing.
Yeah, they do sometimes phrase you as the scalpel, and a really competent lance put in the right place can be used really well, but it's still. At least I want, at least in terms of story, it would be so cool if I'm used as the crack strike team, that I'm the very tip of the spear kind of thing or whatever, and I come barging into the commander's headquarters and personally punch him in the face in my battle mech. That sounds like a cool story, and then the enemies will try and hunt me down, or they'll recognize me in future battles and stuff like that. For the most part, you're a nobody, but woo, I love being a nobody. Hey everyone, nobody knows who I am. Isn't it lovely?
But I do have to say
there's
that
no character connection then, is what you're saying?
Not much. There is some elements they try and touch into, but it doesn't resonate, at least with me. And I don't want to go too much into those.
The story, overall the story though, I think is nice. I guess for us lore freakazoids. It is pretty cool, and when they do certain speeches, it's like, that's pretty cool, type thing. But at least for me though, but I do see your point though, because you're not really part of the conflict. You're just like you're just the club, and that's it. You're like, okay, go over there, attack that. While I'm doing this over here, you go attack that, and that's it. Type thing. You're not really part of the whole conflict as a whole, or actually contributing, or actually making decisions. You're just kind of led by a leash type thing.
So maybe just there are more campaigns coming. We can probably agree on that. So how about next?
What?
Oh no!
You're cutting out, Ian.
Yeah, cutting out.
I'm sorry. My microphone is currently handled because I just had my.
There's certainly room for improvement in the future.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So what I was going to say is maybe next campaign we get a war that's initiated by the player rather than the story maker, so to say. For example, you choose a pirate kingdom that you really don't like, let's say they have concentration camps, and you go like, okay, I don't like those guys. I'm gonna hunt them personally down and kill each of their officers, something like that. That'd be pretty cool for an expansion campaign.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
there's so much room for improvement. In fact, that actually goes to our next part.
I just on the ways you can improve the campaign, there's you have way more personal interaction with the people you're actually fighting. Make it feel more, that there's a kind of angle towards knightly combat or whatever. That these are rare, mechs, and it's all about skill and people fighting one another. It's nice to actually have a face on the person you're punching, at least for the story missions. I would say otherwise, yes, the people you're typically fighting against should at least somewhat recognize you eventually. At least there's a bit back and forth there rather than just, by the way, there's an avalanche that's appeared. Oh, okay.
Go ahead and fight them now, or leave.
Yeah, and other things, at least in terms of RPG mechanics, like at the get start, it seems really promising. You've got a backstory, an origin, whether you were betrayed or whatever type stuff, and it vaguely affects your dialogue choices.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
In terms of taking contracts and doing story missions, I wish at least in future there was some avenue for player expression. Like if I sort of told from early on that, oh hey Mike, I'm going to set my backstory to be very similar to the story that's going to happen, so that my character has a huge motivation to take part in the storyline. And whilst I got this, these lines of dialogue, there wasn't really much for my character to do in terms of saving civilians or, really helping the cause. And in terms of the civilians and the populace, I have absolutely no connection with them whatsoever.
I don't know if that's a good idea though, because Larsh ate his parents.
That's true.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you could have Larsh just be really callous. And stomp on civilian centers and then gather the corpses to eat later.
My goal is just to go around the universe just eating all the enemies.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, before we get too involved with cannibalism, quick mention, last Wednesday, I think, they published their first patch, which was mostly a hotfix, fixing a bunch of issues. If you're interested, I recommend reading the patch notes. Like, I don't think the details are worth covering. But there has, of course, been the roadmap for what is next to come in Battletech for the next coming months. And even though we don't have the time to really get our own ideas in, I think it's definitely worth taking a look at what HBS ideas are.
I think we have talked about, at least, like I said, the game's really flat and such, and they're adding granular difficulty settings.
Yes, that'd be nice. Actually,
they're addressing difficulty spikes, so you're not necessarily always, like I had mentioned, sometimes you jump into something that's way above your level.
Yeah.
Yes,
and it's the same level.
Too.
Yeah.
I do think the base, like, they had something, just like you're saying, like raising the difficulty. Like right now, I could bait the AI into certain positions, and so like it's kind of boring sometimes. It's like, okay, if I do this, I'll bait him, but I'll just do a challenge and I'll just run in and go try to kill him, type thing. But it's really easy to do that, and if they actually made it so you could actually raise the difficulty like 2 levels higher, would be a lot nicer.
Yeah, I totally want to have a difficulty option, so I can do another playthrough, and it's not just the same thing again, but this time I'll do it on hard.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know how the game is actually going to play. Otherwise, they're doing a lot of quality of life improvements, making interface much better on MechLab Store, etc. They are going to allow players to, at least in-game, change the speed at which animations and such play out, because people have been saying, it artificially is slowed down at the moment. It really adds a lot of time.
Yeah.
So that you can already customize it yourself, but having it done officially, whatever, is nice for the general audience. You can also skip the tutorial in future. That will
mind that.
Very nice for future playthroughs, honestly.
The one quality of life for streaming is actually going to be really nice, because when you alt tab out, it kills the sound, which kind of sucks. Like if you're gonna go and stream the game itself.
Yeah.
That's just
maybe to broaden the picture real quick. What we're talking about currently is gonna be the first big update for Battletech. By the way, all of the updates for Battletech that are planned right now are gonna be for free. There's currently no talk about a paid expansion yet.
Oh,
Good.
Oh, and also the other thing we mentioned last week, at least, as I said, I really want to, have my fellow Mechwarriors. I want to do a campaign, where we have Biter, Ian, Lars, and Old Bob.
Yes.
And, particularly if you're streaming that kind of thing, you're telling a story.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
And they're going to update, I think in one of the future updates, give a
Mechwarrior
customization.
customization. Yep. So players can now change appearance, call sign, name, and voice of their Mechwarriors, and not just their commander. So I can now make an actual Old Bob, Ian, and Biter. I can make a tea tree and then put them into this game.
Yeah.
So sadly, all of those, like the big updates, gonna be in June, July. Because beforehand, we're going to have the things like we already mentioned last week, like compatibility and performance investigations, the general bug fixes now in May that were mentioned, and of course the localization for French, German, Russian, and Linux support.
Yep.
Those things didn't make it at launch, and there were problems in the Kickstarter, so obviously those are high priority right now.
And good on them for keeping that, on that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's definitely seeming to keep out of their promises, so I'm highly impressed with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
true.
Giving it a lot more polish is certainly the way to go in the future. Because all my complaints about it being having all these issues with longevity and whatnot, those are major sequel type changes that you need to implement. As it stands, let's solidify this game as a solid foundation for the most part.
I mean, there's so much you can do with this game, just what we talked about in the last podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You could do a company, you have vehicles, you have troops, so many different, you have other drop ships if you wanted to. You can send them on different missions, bigger, you have a battalion size. There's so much things you could do with this game. This is just the springboard for them to do so much better. So that's when I'm going to enjoy in the future, like when this game starts becoming 10 times better than what it already is.
Yeah.
And while we are on this topic, maybe a quick call to all of you watching and listening to this. HBS does currently not have locked in their plans for later. As was mentioned in the Kickstarter update, they're currently staying focused on bug fixes and immediate reactions to launch feedback, which means the discussion as to what you want is still open. So if you head over to the Battletech forums on Paradox Plaza and engage in the conversation, there's a really good chance you're going to be heard by HBS.
Ooh,
yeah.
Okay.
One thing, at least, as a funny mention, at least I saw earlier today, was XCOM 2 is on a huge sale right now. And that game was selling way more than Battletech for a time, I think. So that's good. And I think, at least, as I said, looking at XCOM, there's so many things that game does that this one needs to learn from. Like, one thing I just want to briefly touch on before we conclude was at least one issue I've had with all the Shadowrun games, and this has just been the soundtrack. Like, it's really fun, at least that initial honeymoon period, but afterwards I don't necessarily find there's any greatly memorable melody lines, and there wasn't necessarily much in the way of catharsis that these soundtracks are going for.
Really?
And that's always been a problem with harebrained schemes.
That's pretty good.
It's for me, I find it doesn't actually elicit much emotion. It's a very good background soundtrack, and a lot of emphasis on strings and brass, typically with a bit of drums. But even when there are drums, it's not the huge focus. There's no big, huge war beats or calls to war, or like. I'm sorry to say this, but Mechwarrior Online has better damn music than Battletech.
Whoa, blasphemy!
Battletech makes me feel freaking depressed with how tepid it is. It never, like, with XCOM, when you're preparing for a battle, they sound the drums of war. You guys check out the squad loadout musics for XCOM 1, 2, and War of the Chosen. That thing gets you pumped for a new fight. Whereas in Battletech, even like the winning screen where you're looking through the loot, it's just like, yeah, we got some loot.
That is really interesting to me because I have the complete opposite opinion. To give you an example, Mabel, I bought the Battletech soundtrack in addition to the one I already got in Kickstarter because I just wanted to support the artist. That's how good I find it. And from the Battletech soundtrack, I put about 2/3 of the tracks in my regular playlist, whereas from the XCOM soundtrack, I think there are 3 tracks I put in my playlist. So.
Yeah,
like
the majority
I
of
guess I
XCOM is
just
still
have a really
background.
different music taste. I really like the Battletech music. I think it's one of the best soundtracks I've heard in a while. And
Yeah, I'm kind of with you as well, Ian, because I didn't buy it, but I do listen to it on Spotify at work,
Same here.
and so I don't like have it on loop constantly because that'd be like 8 hours of the same thing over and over again. But doing emails or just doing documents, it's kind of like what Biter did say earlier. It is very good background music, and it's perfect for being at an office setting.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, it's great background music. It's just for me, there's as I said, no melody lines that I really connect with. There's sort of like, if you think of like the intro soundtrack, how am I supposed to be? Yeah, there's no headbanging to that. It's kind of like the best I could do is put on a tutu and do some interpretive dance. And that's just not the same as an XCOM or a whole bunch of other games I play out there. That it just doesn't get me invigorated into it. Like the thing I was saying with the Mechwarrior soundtrack is they use a lot of guitars, like it sounds like rock music, and rock to me just it's got oomph to it. It sounds like big stompy robots rather than a thin string section. Oh yes, I'm in 100 tonner. La 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 la.
Well, it's not like upbeat. Like it's almost like if like the soundtrack to the original Alien. You know,
Ooh.
it's like that. Bob, do you agree?
Yeah,
like,
true.
It's very quiet. It's kind of not like completely
It's specific
alien.
for what it is, though. Basically,
Yes.
like Aliens, has that ambiance of like horror and fear. Than the and Battletech has the same thing as stuff happening in the background. Not really like da 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 da, get ready for battle. It's not like that. It's just it has a different feeling than what a Mechwarrior has. So I personally like it. I can still listen to it in the background, and I'm kind of happy to actually have it on Spotify so I could play it like while I'm playing games. So it's all good for me.
Yeah, I think you do very much touch on the direction of the game in terms of the soundtrack and somewhat story and stuff like that is kind of like when you're on your ship kind of thing. It's kind of got a kind of space is big soundtrack kind of background music going on, and that's kind of fun for setting. But space is big is not the thing that really actually makes me connect with my ship.
Well, okay, it'll be for Battletech 2. When it comes out, Battletech 2, they have big drum beats while you're attacking things, so it'll be good for that time.
Yeah, I just it's just at least as I said with XCOM with the setup screen that you need somewhere a little bit of soul. Battletech, you need some soul rather than just space is big, war might be bad, etc.
Okay,
so I've got two more things to say about the soundtrack real quick.
Sure.
First,
real quick.
Compliments to John Arust, who is the creator of the soundtrack,
yes,
for being brave enough to break with the Mechwarrior tradition. If what Wider noticed, Mechwarrior is usually heavy metal, metal rock, that kind of stuff, and John decided for Battletech to go with something completely different, which I love because it's more my music style than metal. And,
good point.
The other thing is, I don't know where you are missing the soul by the end. Most of the reviews agree with me. Like I've seen a lot of reviews that were soundtrack specific that also pointed out all of the places where the music made you actually connect with the game and all of the references to past Mechwarrior music tracks that are in the soundtrack. So
good point. Like Ian, the same thing. Like I made a video of when the Locust 1V was going to be nerfed when the new skill tree came out, and I used Inya Cell Away. And it's not, heavy metal music, not anything like that. It's just it's just a very soft melody type of thing. It worked, and so and good point. Like it actually worked for Battletech itself, and I do like it.
I think to give credit at least to the soundtrack, it does. There is it is very very well crafted background music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think a good term it would be atmospheric.
Yes.
Yeah.
With this is that it's not going to be pounding like Mechwarrior Online, but I think we've gone over it.
Yeah.
It gives atmosphere to it. It's just I felt like it's like with the story and whatnot. I felt this atmosphere and the story is so distant from the player. as a first attempt to try and get this is a game with huge reach to the audience, and it doesn't necessarily grab people. Like, you want to grab people and say, this is Battletech, this is who we are, and instead you're like, space is big, everyone slowly wave with me.
Okay, so who wants to do the wrap up?
Okay, everyone, this is Lars, your casual Mechwarrior. Thank you for tuning in to the First Circuit Podcast number 38. It's been a hoot. As always, if you want to see more of our content, you can find us on the Twitters or on our YouTube channels, which can be found on the descriptions down below.
Yep.
If you are curious and you want to stay tuned for some random drops, no theme tonight, just doing some drops tonight with the group tonight. We'll be on Twitch on my channel, which is also down in the description. And Bob, do you plan on also doing a stream as well on that for that?
I don't know. I've been up I don't know yet. I don't know yet.
No
Maybe.
worries. Well,
maybe.
Well, I guess if people are interested, you can always find us on my channel on Twitch for later on in about a half an hour.
See you later. Thank you.
See ya.
Yay.
Bye.